sometime now.
Okay, my claim is that social media causes people to become more distant when dealing with face-to-face interactions. The supporting claims is that social media is building a wall between real-life social interactions and social media interactions. Cyberbullying thrives through social media, and people are developing a shorter attention span. According to the Pew Research Center, 95% of teens are online, 76% use social networking sites, 77% have cell phones. Even more, 96% of people ages 18 through 29 are internet users, 84% use social networking sites, and 97% have cell phones. Although social media does bring people near and far together in many positive ways, my claim is that social media causes people to become more distant when dealing with face-to-face interactions. First, I'd like to say that social media is building a wall between social interactions and social media interactions. Ignoring text messages or phone calls, Facebooking at a party, or using Twitter to express your emotions, these are all a result of masking real-life interactions and using these outlets as an alternative to remove yourself emotionally, especially when things get tough. This is becoming increasingly acceptable in our society. Choosing to tweet, Facebook, or Instagram while hanging out with your friends, families, or partners creates a barrier. Now, how many of you, without raising your hands, have been in a relationship where either you were on your phone for 35 minutes or your partner was on their phone for 35 minutes and you're sitting there wondering, what are we even doing here? Our family and loved ones deserve our attention and time, and this is a prime example of how social media affects our relationships dearest to us, and once again, creating that imaginary wall. Second, cyberbullying thrives through social media. Josephine Palomeri from the Department of Applied Psychology at NYU states that cyberbullying, the voluntary and repetitive abuse that is inflicted through computers, cell phones, and other electronic devices, is a modern method of victimization and has affected over 40% of adolescents in the past year, according to the National Crime Prevention Council in 2010. Although there is a lack of substantial research linking cyberbullying to long-term psychological damage, it is suggested that cyberbullying is a lot like actual bullying, where the effects range from loneliness, peer rejection, low self-esteem, poor mental health, depression, isolation, and hopelessness. And of course, some of these emotional states are linked to suicide. A quick personal story, my sister caught her boyfriend with his pants off, and the girl, he was passed out sleeping, and the girl was also sleeping. Her first reaction was to take a picture of what she saw, and she uploaded it to Twitter. It had over 1,000 retweets and even more favorites, and she had tagged the girl into that post. Therefore, from all the scrutiny and ridicule this girl was getting, she was forced to delete her Twitter account. Moving on. My last point is people are developing a shorter attention span due to social media. Alvaro Retna, a distinguished technologist with Hewlett-Packard, expressed concerns about humans' future ability to tackle complex challenges. The short attention spans resulting from the quick interactions will be detrimental to focusing on the harder problems, and we will probably see a decrease in productivity in many areas, such as literature, he had stated. Instant gratification. Dana Levin is a student at Drexel University College of Medicine. She fears that in upcoming years, the reliance on hyperconnectivity will result in lower patience, and people who have been in immediate connection with the internet all their lives will find a quick fix to solve their problems rather than taking the longer routes to figure the problems out. With that being said, social media causes people to become more distant when dealing with face-to-face interactions by building a wall between real-life social interactions and social media interactions. Cyberbullying is thriving through these social media, and people are starting to develop a shorter attention span. Thank you. That's yours.
Thank you. All right, Brittany, you state the claim pretty clearly. There's a good preview at the beginning of the speech. I like the background information that talks about how ubiquitous all the social media is. The secondary claims are labeled as you get to them, so those are pretty clear and easy to follow. It felt like on the first point there was basically only a hypothetical internal audience survey that we had to support your position there, and so that feels a little bit underwhelming. On the second point, there's a lot more information. You've got a couple of quotes from people. It did sound to me like one of your pieces of evidence tended to undermine your claim about there being long-term harms, but you had some good hypothetical examples, and the authority there seemed to suggest that it tends to be true. On the third point, it is very dependent on authority information. It sounds pretty speculative. Once again, we're depending a little bit on hypothetical examples. There's not any hard information to suggest that those trends are taking place, that there's going to be a limit, or people are only going to look for the short-term solutions or the quick solutions. There's also not really a demonstration that the quick, short-term solution isn't a good one, which seems to me to be a component of the argument that might need a little bit of development. It's like maybe a first or second run through on the argument. I just feel like you need a lot more evidence on the first point, and the other 2 points, although they have a couple of good pieces of information to support them, they need a little bit more substance to them. Also, the Indy 500 isn't until May, and I think you could slow down a little bit. You've got 4 minutes and 13 seconds in your speech, and you have 6 minutes. So I know you're rushing, but perhaps just a wee bit too quick. All right, thank you.